you hunt in an area that's primarily timberland, you probably have some of this. Closed canopy forest, nothing down below except mainly brown leaves, some shade-tolerant species. This is the quintessential biological desert. There's not food or cover here. And we want food or cover. All species, game species, non-game species, even humans, our health depends on our habitat. That habitat can be escape. You know, if we're in a third world country, people are trying to kill us, or if we're really well fed and having steak every night, it's going to really impact our overall health. And the same is true for critters. So if you want more deer, turkey, better quality deer or turkey, it's really a habitat thing. And that's why we spend so much time talking about habitat and also herd harvest, how we can know if we need to harvest more does or pass up more does or whatever it is, because it's always a ratio of the quantity of quality food to the number of mouths competing for that when we're talking deer herd. Or cover. You could be, you know, in Iowa and have tremendous legume crops, soybeans, alfalfa everywhere, but no cover, no fawning cover, and everything's covered with herbicide, pesticide, fungicide. Well, that's still a relatively low quality habitat. But today, I want to talk about timbered habitat. And so many of y'all just driving down the road anywhere, pick a state, you know, from Florida to Maine to Minnesota, anywhere east of the Great Prairie. If you're in timber country, you see a bunch of this. You see closed canopy, crooked trees, probably some cedar stuff, and look down in what we call the habitat zone, 0 to 5 feet. There's no food or cover. If the habitat zone is blank, don't expect much for deer herd quality or quantity. And in here, when I look around, I mean, we don't have to go too far. We have, man, I really dislike this plant. This is buckthorn. Oh my goodness, that thing is super invasive, makes a gazillion seeds. There it is, a bunch more over there. You see it all over. And let's slide on down in here. Got some Virginia creeper, the 5-leaf. It's not poison ivy. Of course, Virginia creeper can be decent deer food, but it's shade tolerant. But when I look down through here, 90% of the ground is brown dead leaves. That's not habitat, folks. And again, 5 feet, basically chest tall on me or chin tall or whatever. I'm about 6 feet tall. That's the habitat zone. Just you look around, you know, there's some saplings sticking up, some leaves out, but that's down where deer, quail, turkey live. It's wide open. Well, you know, just over here a few yards is a stand of timber that was just like this. And I want to show you what we did to convert it from a biological desert to very productive habitat. Come on with me. So you can see behind me, much more open. It's funner to walk through, that's for sure. We simply came through with our steel chainsaw, and of course all the appropriate protective gear, and felled everything below 6 inches or so. Stuff that we could deal with, certainly evercedar and smaller hardwoods. We painted those stumps with what most people know as the Harper formula, 50% Garlon 3A, 40% water, 10% Arsenal AC, mixed in that order. Of course, you don't need to treat cedar trees. They do not sprout back after you cut them, like a pine tree doesn't sprout back, but the hardwood certainly will. You need to treat them within 5 minutes or less, because that sap will heal the wound where you cut it, and a lot of times the herbicide will not penetrate. So we just did this and then burned it this spring, late winter, early spring. Pokeweed, there was no pokeweed. Pokeweed needs a lot of sun. Pokeweed is good deer food, good human salad too. If you get it when it's young, gets a little bit more mature, it might give you some intestinal stress. I'll let you make that what you want, but pokeweed, phytolacca, when it's young, it's great. Just walking through, and you see all the green on the ground. Got some grasses coming up. I see another really cool plant over here. Now, there was smilax back there, but most of it was bitten off. This is greenbrier, catbrier, smilax, and these little tips, like above the first thorn, these little tips taste like asparagus. They're usually 20 or 30% protein. I like eating them. I'm telling you, they are great, and deer thrive on this. So I'm sure this was an older smilax like this, no leaves anywhere. The fire came through, set that back, then killed the root system. That's a perennial plant. and let this come up, and that's great quality browse. I'm surprised the deer hadn't found that. Here's a test for y'all. When you walk your property, what percent of smilax has been browsed off versus these beautiful tips on the end? Because that's super high quality deer food. Think of that as soybeans or alfalfa or whatever. And it's free. There's one right in front of Daniel right there, another one right there. I mean, we'd never see that amount, but we've overwhelmed the deer herd with this. They're browsed on some of the oak saplings, oak sprouts coming up, and Mississippi State did some work. Marcus down there did some great work years ago. You can see where some stuff's been browsed off here. And this is a small stump. Of course, this has been browsed off. That tree, even this little tree, maybe 10, 12, 15 years old. And that big root system, because it's shade, it's been growing under shade, that big root system down there is feeding that tree. All of a sudden we cut it off. Maybe we forgot to herbicide that one. And putting out this quickly, well, it's what's called a mineral stump. They've done research on this. This isn't guessing. And this will be, X 100% higher. I don't remember the number, so don't get send me a bunch of hate mail, but a whole bunch higher on mineral content. They called them mineral stumps. And of course, this is a great plant. Some of y'all recognize this. That leaf and the top has been browsed off of that. Leaf shape is pretty diagnostic of this plant. That's goldenrod. A lot of people don't realize goldenrod is high quality browse, especially when it's young. Top's been bid out of this. Deer can just walk through here literally like a buffet bar and get bites of whatever they want. And here, some more greenbrier. And deer are known as concentrate selectors. They eat the best and leave the rest. They're getting the very best. You see this when deer walk in a great big old 50-acre bean field. And they don't just stay in one place, eat like a cow would. They literally eat the very best leaf that they see, take a few steps, pick the best leaf, take a few steps, take the best leaf. They're concentrate selectors. They have a really narrow muzzle or mouth compared to a cow or an elk or a bison. Those are grass eaters. Deer don't eat grass, or usually don't eat grass. They don't have the same microbes in their gut to digest that. They, much smaller animal, so they have to have really high quality fuel to drive it. Concentrate selectors. And this is browsed off. This has been browsed off right here. This is not. This is not. They're picking the very best and leaving the rest. Let's just see. And again, we're just a couple months in this. We just did the fire recently, so this will green up and be tremendous turkey nesting, turkey brooding habitat, depending on where you are. There's more shade right here, killed more trees over there. If you're thinking this isn't an attractive area, you're not used to seeing this kind of work, my daughter Ray, who just finished her MBA, so Ray, you're doing great, graduated Saturday with her MBA, but Friday morning she came home and tagged a tom right there. Her and Daniel were hunting together. Raleigh, my other daughter, and I were out hunting. Tagged a nice tom coming this way. Father Daniel's calling right here. We've been seeing a ton of turkeys in this area. This is ideal turkey habitat. And you can see all the little green just starting to pop. We're just getting warm enough, or a lot of species are just now growing. You're getting the point. Great browse species. And this is, again, we're early on. This is going to get better and better. And all we did, fire up the steel chainsaw, of course, have our appropriate protective gear. Your life's too important to waste going out there and using a chainsaw without chaps. That's just silliness. That's not macho, that's silliness. And felled small trees. Killed them, treated the stumps of the hardwoods with the Harper recipe, and let more sunlight. Now, there's still a lot of canopy in here. I want this to have 20, 30% sunlight, just enough to get this growing. And as we burn this more and more through the years, we'll probably take out another tree or two, and that's just gonna let more sunlight down. When you limit the amount of sun coming through to 20 or 30%, you don't have to deal with as many hardwood saplings coming up. If we come in here and put 50% of the sun on the ground, which I love doing, that usually means you've got to follow up with a herbicide application through a drone, backpack crew, whatever, to control those hardwood saplings, at least one application of herbicide. This is a hardwood stand, not pines, a little bit more difficult to get that right herbicide in here. So we wanted about 20% sun hitting the ground, because before this, and we have some video of this area was just brown leaves. There was nothing in here but saplings, few big trees, and brown leaves. It was just a pass-through area at best. Now it's an attraction area, and it will be high quality nesting, brooding, and fawning habitat by next growing season, next spring. So just want to share this with you. You got no excuse. Maybe you're hunting Granny's 40 and you got permission to work on 5 acres on the back, or you got your own land. Man, there are no excuses. You don't have to have a big logging crew. Get you a good saw, learn how to sharpen those chains, and you can do some great work. And we use a chainsaw almost every day here in the summer doing habitat work. One thing that's really important if you're going to be a habitat person is learning how to sharpen those chains in the field. You'll save a lot of money. We'll show you techniques to make your chains last a lot longer. And we recently visited with our friends at Steel and just got a tutorial that they graciously allowed us to film, how to really simply and effectively sharpen chains. And we're going to share that next week right here at Growing Deer. You don't want to miss it, and you're going to want to share it with all your habitat improvement buddies. Hey, watching this turn in from a biological desert to high quality habitat is something that I find a lot of joy in. I can just come out here and look around, identify plants, see what they're browsing on, what they're not browsing on. But to have a really good life, rather than worrying about species ID, you need to seek the Creator and apply His will to your life daily. That's easy to do with all the apps out there anymore. If you ever have questions, you can write Daniel and I. We'd be glad to talk to you, because the most important work you can do as a man or a woman is find the Creator. He's looking for you, and invite Him into your life. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.